Hi everyone, welcome to my channel. Today's video is going to be a story time. I haven't done a story time since I did my last one, which was a couple of months ago. So I thought I should do one today. And today's topic is very personal, and before I get into it, I just want to ask you guys to subscribe to my channel down below, as I always ask you, and leave me a comment. I want to hear your experience, what you think, and yeah, let's interact. Let's get chatting. So, when I was 7 months pregnant, I went for my routine checkup, and I remember I had a scan, and the doctor told me that the baby is not growing the way that they should be growing. So I did a scan. So when you do the scan, they measure the circumference. I don't know what, abdominal circumference. Yes, that's what they call it. That means the size of the belly. I'm sure the experts can correct me, but I think that's what it is. And then they measure the baby's head, and they measure the bones as well, the femur, and can't remember the other names of the bones, but yeah, the leg bones. And so when they measured everything else was okay, but the abdominal circumference was the one that wasn't okay. And having measured it, they said, the baby's not growing the way that they should be. So they recommended that I have my baby early than me waiting for the labor to come naturally, because that way they would be able to sort out anything if there's a problem, because they didn't understand why the baby wasn't growing properly. And if I'm being honest, looking back, before I continue the story, this is a side note, I know why the baby wasn't growing properly. I was going through a phase where I wasn't taking my prenatal vitamins. I wasn't taking my I wasn't eating properly. I was just, how pregnancy is, it's hard, and not every day is a win. You just struggle through it. Today you're okay, today you want to eat this, tomorrow you don't want to eat, today you feel like that. And for me, those vitamins used to make me sick, and so I stopped taking them. My husband doesn't know this, so but anyway, yeah, I think looking back, that's the reason why that happened. So having been told that, I was told that I would need to be induced. So a month later, at 8 months, they checked me again. The baby still hadn't grown from the previous month. So they got really worried. After that, I was going to the hospital every week. And time came for me to be induced. I think I was between 36 and 37 weeks. Time came for me to be induced. I went to the hospital, and oh yes, they called me and said, you can come in. So I went into the hospital. This was 5 p.m. on a Tuesday. 7 p.m. they put a pessarol down. They put a pessarol. It's I've never used a tampon, but it's flat. It looks like a tampon, but it's flat, and it goes, I guess, where the tampon goes. Yeah, so they put the pessarol in. It has a hormone that I don't know what it is or what it does, but it's supposed to soften the cervix so that you can start going into labor. Okay, now they had to induce me because by that time I hadn't started dilating, my water hadn't broken, everything was still intact, and the baby hadn't even come down yet, So after the pessarol stays in your body for 24 hours before it can even for it to have an effect. They may take it out if it starts to work and you go into labor along the way, but it didn't happen for me. I had it Tuesday from 7 p.m. to the next day at 7 p.m. I was in pain the whole time. The only thing I took that really helped me was codeine. They gave me codeine. The codeine was really good. I remember they gave it to me at night, and I slept for a good 2-3 hours. But even then, I was really tired. I was in so much pain. Honestly, when I think about having another kid, if I have another kid, I will probably get an epidural, because I think there's no point in killing yourself with pain just to prove that you can do it. No. Anyway, that aside, so they put the pessarol in, and so I was in pain, but the whole time nothing happened, All it did was, my water was still intact, my water hadn't broken. They were hoping that it would break through the night. It didn't. So But the time I was taking it out, so what happens is you are in this maternity ward, right? When you move from there, you go to the birthing suite. So at 7 p.m. on the Wednesday, they took out the, oops, my button is open. At 7 p.m. on Wednesday, they took out the pesero and they took me to the birthing suite where you're supposed to have the baby. It's like a private room, with you only share the bathroom. There's another room on the other side with like maybe another family or another person giving birth. Yeah, so it was just me and Michael, my husband. So the morning of Wednesday night they removed the pesero and nothing happened. So they moved me to the birthing suite and said, you know what? Let's try and see if we can break your water. Then the doctor said they should wait, that I should rest in the night, and then in the morning they'll try and induce me some other way. Anyway, so they gave me codeine and I slept. In the morning around 6 o'clock, the nurse came to check. I'd only dilated 1 centimeter. This was now Thursday morning. I'd only dilated 1 centimeter. Then 2 hours later, the doctor came around 8 o'clock to pop my water. And when you're popping the water, they put the fingers in and then they put that hook thing that has to go and like poke the water sack for the baby. Oh my days, it was horrible. It was horrible. Like, you're lucky if your labor starts naturally. You're so lucky if it doesn't take long. Mine was horrible. That breaking of the water was the most. I felt so violated. I felt so like it was horrible. I cried and I was crying for my mom. Mommy, help me. What? So anyway, they broke the water, and then the labor started, but the contractions went they still went a lot the way they expect them to be. So they had to give me a drip. I can't remember the medicine that's in the drip, but they put me on a drip that now speeds up the process, because once they break your water, there's a limited amount of time that the baby should stay in your belly. The baby needs to come out. Otherwise, they can have an infection. So the drip is supposed to speed up the process of labor. Oh my goodness. Number one, this is the worst mistake I ever made, was not to choose a pain management medication. I refused an epidural, and by the time I was asking for diamorphine, it was too late. They tried to give me diamorphine. It didn't work. So when the drip, they put in the drip around 10 o'clock. No, around 8:30. No, 9 o'clock. I think between 9 and 10 they put in the drip, and I was in so much pain that I don't remember half of the things I kept saying to my husband. I don't even remember like some of the stuff that happened. Like even the conversation about pain management, I kept crying, give me something. But I had refused, and so the things you say sometimes when you are in that pain, in that moment, it's not as coherent, number one, and it can't be relied on, because you're just not, I think in that moment you're not of sound mind, So yeah, I remember asking the nurse, give me a painkiller, you gotta do that. Oh, it's so painful. And the doctor said that the diamorphine makes the baby drowsy for a few days when they're born. If you have it too late during labor, make sure you have it early, and then you don't feel the labor as much. But again, I thought I could do it naturally, and I took long to have it. By the time I was asking for the diamorphine, it was too late. They gave it to me in between contractions. I felt nothing. It didn't do anything. I was in so much pain. So time came for pushing. I felt like I was pushing for like 30 minutes. Nothing was happening. When I did manage to push, like, I remember I strangled my husband. I strangled Michael. I was like, why is it not coming out? It's not coming out. It needs to come out. And yeah, I strangled him. I hit him. And it wasn't even like, because it's your fault. No, it was just like, it needs to come out. Yeah. So I was in so much pain. Like, I would never encourage anyone. If you're going to do natural labor, get an epidural, manage the pain. There's no need for that. So anyway, after that, after I pushed the first, the big push I did, the head came out. And then I think 2 seconds later or three, the rest of the body came out and I tore. I had a 3rd-degree tear. So immediately the nurse couldn't just give me small stitches. I had to go to theater because I was bleeding and the tear was too big. Had to go in theater for repair. So I went, I held my baby like when it first came out, but I was in so much pain I didn't enjoy it. They took the baby, I went in theater, so he was just with the dad. And luckily everything went well in theater, you know. But just that feeling of, first of all, you know, people like I didn't know what was happening. I was drowsy because I was on gas and air. You know, gas and air doesn't take away the pain. It just makes you feel like you're a bit drunk, like you're a bit drowsy. You're just, you know. Not that you're not feeling the pain. You feel everything, but because you're drowsy, I feel like you don't pay attention to it as much. So because of the gas and air, I didn't even understand what the doctors were saying. I just saw the anesthesiologist come. I'm gonna do this to you. I'm like, yes, okay, okay. I kept falling asleep and they were like, no, you need to stay awake, you need to stay awake. So anyway, I went into theater and luckily everything went well and I came out of that. But honestly, my experience is that if you're gonna have a baby, make sure that if you're being induced or even just normal labor, have a pain management plan. Manage your pain, because otherwise you won't be able to listen to what the nurse is telling you, the midwife is telling you on when to push, when to hold, you know, because I didn't listen, so I tore, you know, and the recovery process takes much longer than if you have normal labor. So that's my story. I hope you enjoyed it. Tell me your experiences in the comments. I want to hear about it. Thank you for watching.